When Dell introduced the Dell XPS 13 a couple of years ago, it garnered rave reviews and has been one of the top 13-inch thin and light laptops on the market. Well, people have been clamoring for a convertible Dell XPS 13 and they wanted pen support. The good news is Dell listened and they just released the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1. Hi, my name's Andrew from AMDtech and this is the review of the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1. Let's find out if it's worth your money. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a big fan of the Dell XPS 13. And if you saw my coverage of CES 2017 this year, you know I was able to get a first look at the XPS 13 2-in-1. What got me really excited was the fact that it not only has a 360-degree hinge, but it also has pen support. Rather than go with the traditional Core i7U processor, this unit has the Core i7 7Y75, or otherwise formerly known as the Core M processor. It's a 7th gen processor and it's fanless. And it has dynamic power mode, which boosts the speed when you need it. Now, it's not quite as powerful as the Dell XPS 13 traditional version or the HP Spectre X360, but it did well in its own right. This being a Dell XPS 13, it has the all aluminum on the outside and that beautiful carbon fiber on the inside. It weighs less than the Dell XPS 13 Touch Edition at 2.7 pounds and is only 0.54 inches thick. They managed to get this beautiful 13.3-inch screen into the body of an 11-inch device. Really impressive engineering. And speaking of the display, it has, of course, its beautiful 13.3-inch IPS Infinity Edge touch display. This model has the resolution of 1920 by 1080, but of course it's available in a QHD Plus version at a resolution of 3200 by 1800. This full HD version, of course, has that minimal bezels at 0.2 inches and really is a premium, gorgeous looking display. It gets bright at 314 nits and it has 107.2% sRGB, meaning color accuracy is spot on. Dell did an excellent job with this display. It's really crisp, very sharp looking, and one of the best full HD panels out there right now. Pricing starts at $999 and the entry-level model gives you only a Core i5 7Y54. It's got only 4 GB of RAM and a paltry 128 GB of SSD storage. I'd stay away from that model. I'd choose the $1,299 model, which gives you a Core i7 with 8 GB of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD storage. The model I have for $100 more gives you 16 GB of DDR3 memory. These are certainly pricey devices, especially when you're considering you're getting a Core i7 7Y75 and not the normal Core U processor. This being a yoga style device, it has that 360-degree hinge, which gives you tent mode, media mode. You can fold it back into tablet mode, and of course your traditional laptop mode, where I used it most of the time. Now the hinge is made out of metal and it's pretty sturdy, and it's held up well since I've gotten this device. Now, since this is a convertible device, they had to put the power button on the side of the unit, and it's a little bit recessed and a little bit difficult to turn on. I was a little bit disappointed in that. And there was no room for a full-size SD card slot, so they give you a micro SD card slot. And you get a USB Type-C port. This is where you'll charge the device. And on the other side, you get another USB Type-C, this time Thunderbolt 3 supported. This is where you'll attach a monitor. I'll demonstrate that in just a bit. And you get a 3.5mm headset jack. One notable port missing is a full-size USB Type-A port. Now, they do include a USB Type-C to Type-A adapter in the box. Nice touch. Connecting an external monitor is no problem with the USB Type-C Thunderbolt 3 supported port. That's the one on the left-hand side of the device. And since this is an XPS 13, you get your battery indicator meter on the side of the device, which comes in handy to let you know how much juice you have at the end of the day. And a welcome new feature is the fingerprint sensor for Windows Hello login. It was easy to set up and it worked very well, and it registered my fingerprint pretty much every time I used it. Now, if you watched my review of the Dell XPS 13, you know I'm a big fan of the keyboard, and I'm pretty impressed with this keyboard as well. At 1.3 millimeters of key travel, the keys were comfortable to type on, and it had a really nice backlighting. Now, there are changes with this keyboard. The home and end keys now have dedicated buttons, and there are dedicated page up and page down keys as well. Overall, I will have to say that Dell did a great job on the keyboard once again. And just like the traditional Dell XPS 13, this has a precision touchpad. Two-finger scrolling was a pleasure, Windows 10 gestures worked well, and overall it had a nice size and feel to it. But one welcome new addition is the active pen support. It's the PN556W. It's a $49 accessory. It has 2048 levels of pressure sensitivity, and it uses the Webcam AES technology. Now, this is the same pen we tested with the Dell XPS 12 last year, and as you know, it worked extremely well. Now, the pressure sensitivity was very good, the responsiveness of the pen was excellent, and it had very good palm rejection, as you see here. And just like the Surface Pen, one click of the eraser button on the top will activate OneNote, a really nice, handy feature for those note takers out there. And a double press on the top will activate ScreenWrite, really great for taking or jotting down a number when you need it in a pinch. Screenwriting really came in handy a couple of times since I've used this device. The pen connects via Bluetooth, and you can control the pen as far as the pressure sensitivity, what the top pen button will do in terms of double press and single press, and whether or not the top barrel button, what that does, as well as the bottom barrel button. Very highly customizable. There's a 720p webcam, and it's located on the bottom section of the display. Now, it's Windows Hello ready, but it's not enabled yet and will be when Dell releases a software update. So here's what the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1 looks like, the webcam as far as what it looks like when you're in laptop mode. This is a centered camera, unlike the traditional Dell XPS 13, which had it on the left-hand side of the screen. Here you see it is centered. And here it is in tent mode. The webcam actually now is in a proper position in the top of the display, a more traditional place to, and it actually has a better result. So the flexibility of the 2-in-1 actually solves a problem that the traditional Dell XPS 13 has, in that it doesn't have a webcam in a proper place. There are two side-firing speakers on this device, and they sound really good. And to test them out, let's take a look and a listen at Western Gents United. Great coverage of the Dell XPS 15 with the Kaby Lake processor.
Talioga Chance, and welcome to the show. So this is the review you have all been waiting for. I tried to get this review out as quick as I can because I know you guys really want it, but I had to do my due diligence and make sure I thoroughly test everything with this Dell XPS 15 9560, the Kaby Lake model, the 2017 XPS 15.
For a very thin and light laptop, I was surprised at how good the sound was. It got pretty loud, the mids were good, the bass levels were good as well. Overall, I would say the speakers on this machine really impressed me. The version I decided to go with has the Core i7 7Y75, or formerly known as the Core M processor. Here's how it did on the Geekbench 4 test. On the multi-core score, it did a very respectable 5,314. Its built-in graphics did 17,533, a very good score indeed. It has a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD storage, of which about 208 gigabytes are available to the user. And here's how it did on the Crystal DiskMark scores. It did a 1,594 on the read and a somewhat disappointing 368.3 on the write, but did very well in the 4K write score with a 114.6. And on the Octane 2.0 score, it did 25,485, a pretty good score indeed. As far as wireless is concerned, it has Bluetooth 4.0 and it has dual band wireless AC. I was hoping to see killer wireless, but that's not the case. And I decided to go with a unit with 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, which certainly helps in performance. Dell outfitted this unit with a 46 watt-hour battery, a smaller battery than the traditional Dell XPS 13, which had a 60 watt-hour battery. Here's how it did on the AMDtech endurance test. It did 8 hours and 21 minutes of web surfing, 9 hours under light use, and it did about 5.5 hours under heavy load. I would say the battery life is very good, but not quite as good as the HP Spectre X360 late 2016 edition that we recently reviewed. So, at the end of the day, can I recommend the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1? Does Dell have a winner on its hands? And the answer is yes. Here's what I like. I like its bright Infinity Edge touch display. I like its good battery life. It's really comfortable. Great keyboard, its precision touchpad. I like the fact that it has powerful speakers and Windows Hello support through the fingerprint sensor and coming soon to that camera. I like its Thunderbolt 3 support to connect to a monitor, and I like the fact that this is the first Dell XPS 13 to support the Dell Active Pen. But of course, as with any device, there are going to be things that need improvement. Here they are. First, I'm not a fan of where they placed the power button. Now I understand this is a yoga style device, a convertible, and they needed to put it on the side. But it was kind of hard to press, and it didn't always work every time I tried to turn the device on. Not a great placement. And performance was not quite as good on the Core Y processor as you would find in the traditional Core U processor that you find in the regular Dell XPS 13. And just like the traditional Dell XPS 13, you're going to suffer with the up-your-nose webcam action. It's awkward and it really needs to be changed. Now it is remedied somewhat when you do put it in tent mode. And finally, I wish they did put a full-size USB Type-A port, although I do appreciate the fact that they do put an adapter in the box. But with those few negatives aside, I have to say this really checks all the boxes you want in a thin and light convertible. It's got a great design, great keyboard and touchpad, nice display, great sound, and good battery life. Bottom line, I can't blame Dell for building on a winning formula. That's why I'm going to give it 83%, making this worth your money. So what do you think about the Dell XPS 13 2-in-1? Do you think it checks all the boxes that you want in a convertible laptop? It's got the great screen, it's got the pen support, got great sound, it's got great build quality, really checks all the boxes. And I think Dell was building on the winning formula, and rightfully so. I think they hit a home run here. I think there is room for improvement in some areas, but overall I think Dell really knocked it out of the park. But I'm curious to know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I am curious to know. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter and our website at AMDtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMDtech. See ya.